Currently, the farm is supported by the larger organization of tillers. We're not self-supporting. We don't see any benefit from subsidies here. We do international work abroad, and we do receive some USAID grants from that, but not for any of our domestic farming operations. Here at Tillers, our philosophy and my philosophy is sort of that things are appropriate scale. A lot of our work that we do internationally, we're looking at appropriate scale. And here it's, okay, how many animals can the land handle? Looking kind of towards nature as that guide. So before Tillers came to the site in 2003, dairy farmer was raising his replacement heifers, and he had 800 cows on this property. Basically had fenced off the perimeter, but hadn't fenced off waterways, and we do have the Portage River. The NRCS provided us with some funding to help fence out those waterways. Interesting to see the photos where basically it was just brown and mud. And a lot of the pastures north now, have healthy stands of clover and orchard grass mixes. You should have the amount of acreage that's appropriate for your number of cows. And that means being able to spread that manure, have them out in the pasture, and not have the amount of manure they're producing go over the amount of phosphorus that you want to see in your waterways and your lakes. So one challenge in a system where you are moving cows frequently, it is more labor, and there are obviously labor costs, and it ties you down. We do more rotationally grazing with some species managed intensively. Having to move water and maintain fence line, and it's a lot more work in that way. If you can't necessarily get a higher price for your beef or for your lamb, you can't compete with what the large-scale operators are doing. I was just looking at the store, and I think milk was like $2.19 a gallon, and I'd been working on dairy farms in Maryland and Vermont where raw milk, small-scale, grass-based dairies, and for a half gallon, it was $5 or $6. We talk about sustainable agriculture in terms of the land, but it also has to make sense for the farmers and the people who are making a living off those animals. I think in terms of subsidies, what the government should really be looking at in terms of supporting farmers and the environment is paying for environmental benefits. So, we have sheep in conjunction with cows because they graze differently. And in the end, that can improve your bottom line in terms of you have good pasture, you can put weight on your steers quicker. Government money needs to be spent towards supporting small-scale farmers and the environmental benefits they can bring to the table. I don't think the USDA has ever had something where okay, if you have multi-species grazing, there's money for that. It's okay, I'm trying to produce the most, pounds of meat off of this area. I mean, it's really not even like an area. It's okay, how much can I maximize my profit? And that's just not what nature does. Or if she does, it leads to things like floods and natural disasters. We're currently working in Uganda and Mozambique. People locally will say they're feeling the effects of the U.S. subsidies for our farmers here, and it disrupts their local markets. And if you have tons and tons of cheap fossil fuel, large-scale agro-industrial corn coming, that basically gets dumped and shipped overseas as food aid. It's very hard for local farmers who are farming, maybe 2 to 5 acres from being able to sell their corn and grain at a price that is actually sustainable and profitable for them and for their family. There are so many laws that are simply geared towards large-scale agro-industrial models. When you have those sorts of laws in place, the small scale farmer is always going to be at a disadvantage. It's not just enough to say, oh, but I buy from my local organic farmer at the farmer's market. But if you don't change things at the larger level, eventually that small scale producer is going to get edged out. It's just a matter of time.